Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Yogeswari Sugumaran, your English trainer. In today's video, we'll be learning about verbs and its contractions. Now, why should we learn about verbs and its contractions? Because most of the auxiliary verb, when it comes with the personal pronoun, it has its own contracted version, and that's why it is important for us to learn about that so that it actually speeds up your speech. It makes you so fluent and natural when you speak with those contractions. These contractions are mostly used when we are speaking, or in other words, spoken English. Okay, now why am I directly jumping into the contractions, and where will you get to learn about the verbs and its forms? I've already made a video, a complete series of video about what are verbs, what are the be verbs, have verbs, do verbs, with examples and exercise. I've given the link on the top. Go check out, watch the entire playlist, and then come back here so that you can understand this contraction video as well. Now, starting with the be verb, am. I am gives you the contraction I'm. I am gives you the contraction am. Is. She is gives you the contraction she is. He is gives you contraction his. It is contracted into its. That is gives you that's. One simple rule, I gets chopped off and an apostrophe gives you the contraction. What is what's. There is there's. Where is where's. Here is here's. Now the second verb we have is are, which is the plural for is. We are gives you we're. Now, A gets chopped off and then an apostrophe gives you we're. They are gives you their. You are gives you your. Now, moving down to the, I'm just clearing off all these things, and then let's move to the negative contraction. I am not. I am not gives you I'm not. A gets chopped off, added an apostrophe, gives you I'm not. Is not. O gets chopped off and an apostrophe isn't. Was not, wasn't. Are not, aren't. Were not, weren't. Now, in all these places, the same rule, O gets chopped off and then we add an apostrophe, which gives the negative contraction. Moving down, we have negative contraction for do verbs. Now, why am I not talking about do verbs positive contraction? Because do verb doesn't have any positive contraction. So that's why whenever do verb comes, when it is getting its negative form, that's when the contraction happens. Do plus not gives you do not, and that gets converted into, contracted into don't. Did plus not, did not, gets contracted into didn't. Does plus not gets contracted into doesn't. Now we are moving on to the have verbs. I had gets contracted into I'd. Now here you have to understand there are few verbs, and when it gets blended to the personal pronouns, it actually has the same contraction. One of that is I had. Now, what is the other one? That is I would. I had and I would has the same contraction, which is I apostrophe D. Now, how should you pronounce this? I had. When it is I had contraction, we have to pronounce this as I'd. I'd. He had, he'd. She had, she'd. I have, I've. So in all these places, HA gets chopped off and we add an apostrophe that gives us I have, I've. We have, same rule, we've. They have, same rule, they've. You have, same rule, you've. You've. You. So when we use it in the sentence, you have not, or you have a huge house. You have a huge house. You have a huge house. So contracted form will be you have a huge house. You have a huge house. So the stress gets reduced there so that it is easy to speak. The same way, he has, he's, she has, she's. Now, where will you see again he's and she's? We have seen this in the be verb, where he is also contracted as he's, she is also contracted as she's. So here, how should you understand whether it is he has or he is? It is based on the, you have to understand based on the sentence. Okay, great. So let's move on to the other contractions. We have negative have contraction. Has plus not, we have hasn't. Have plus not, haven't. Had plus not, hadn't. Now we have contractions with will, would, and had. Now the pronouns that we will be using are personal pronoun I, it, he, she, we, you, they, and we. Now let's see. I had and I would. Both will have the same contraction, that is I'd. I'd. It had and it would. Both will have the same contraction, it. It'd. He had and he would. Both will have the same contraction, which is he'd. He'd. She had and she would will have the same contraction, which is she'd. I plus will gives you I'll. Who plus will gives you who'll. I'll come to meet you tomorrow. Who will arrange all these things? She plus will gives you she'll. He plus will gives you he'll. They plus will gives you they'll. It plus will gives you it'll. We plus will gives you we'll. You plus will gives you you'll. Now moving on, we have negative contractions of modal verbs. Will plus not, won't. Will plus not, will not gets contracted to won't. Shall plus not, shan't. Can plus not, can't. Could plus not, couldn't. Should plus not, shouldn't. Would plus not, wouldn't. Might plus not, mightn't. Must plus not, mustn't. Need plus not, needn't. Ought plus not to gives you oughtn't to. Ought plus not to gives you oughtn't to. Let's move on to seeing some examples. Okay, so first one is she isn't my sister. So here the contraction is isn't. She isn't my sister. I haven't received the mail. They couldn't reach the station on time. We oughtn't to have complained about our neighbor. We oughtn't to have complained about our neighbor. I'm not a good dancer. She'll speak to us tomorrow. He hasn't achieved the target. He's a gentleman. She has a dog. Now, if you see, he is a gentleman here and she has a dog here. So we have to read it as he's a gentleman, she has a dog. Is a gentleman, as a dog. Okay, it is not has a, but as a. She has a dog. Now coming to I'd given upon her. Now I'd given upon her. it is I had given upon her. I'd given upon her. I had given upon her. Now this one is I would do anything for you. Expansion, I would do anything for you. I would do anything for you. So here it is had. The first one, let me write it for you over here. Here it is I had. And the second one here is I would. Now, 8th sentence is he is. 9th sentence is she has. Hope you understood the entire difference and it is completely clear to you. So let's move on to the next one, where we are seeing about the worksheet. Now I have described every possible contraction to you. All you need to do here is whatever you've learned, use it here, write the contraction and make your own sentence using the contraction so that you can remember better, you can use those words better. Okay, so if you want the PDF of this notes with the exercise, it is free download. You can check out the link in the description box, and also do subscribe to my channel so that you can receive more of such videos in the future. Until then, bye bye, see you.